incredibly honored to have with us Mr. Sarge Sugida, a leading voice who brings invaluable real world experience and deep understanding of the African business landscape. His insights will undoubtedly enrich our learning beyond the classroom. So, I'm going to read a short bio about this phenomenal individual, and then I'll also invite him to introduce himself shortly. So, Sarge Sugiras thrives on creating innovative solutions that drive growth and impact across various industries. As an entrepreneur with a passion for technology and business, he has founded and led companies focused on sectors like events management, electronics, agriculture, and trading. With a background in computer science and an MBA degree, he's committed to empowering others um, and fostering opportunities for aspiring entrepreneurs. Passionate about leadership and sustainable business practices, he strives to contribute economic progress and make a positive impact on communities and markets. So he is the CEO and founder of Diners. This was founded in 2020, where he transformed a small food and beverage venture into a dynamic multi-sector enterprise operating across events management, contracting, electronics, agriculture, and trading. Guys, wow. Can I see some a round of applause? This is amazing. So Serge, along with two other Rwandan students, also were part of a team that developed a web platform to help connect African youth with Chinese e-commerce experts, aiming to boost e-commerce skills on the African continent. Mr. Serge, we are excited to have you here today, and we look forward to learning from everything you have to offer. I'd like to request you to briefly introduce yourself, and then we'll hand over to Joel. Thank you.
Thanks, Aliga. Good morning, everybody. Oh, wow. I didn't know some of these things you guys are about, especially the Chinese. That was anyway. So, good morning, everybody. As they say, my name is Serge Sujira. I am Rwandan born and raised. Um, Quite funny. Some three years ago, I was right here where you guys are seated right now. I have a bachelor's degree from African Leadership University, ALU. Do hard things, and also I am I'm finishing the MBA with the LU School of Business with a focus on AI and data science. I believe our graduation might be in a few months. Hope I'll see you guys on campus. All right. So they asked me to introduce myself. I am an entrepreneur. That's how I define myself. But also I am an African first. I'm an African individual who really started from normal background. We have founded, I've tried a few companies. Right now, there's Diners. Some of you might have know it because we have a small location inside ALU campus. If some of you have been on campus, that is where it's all started. Some 2020, that was 4 or 5 years ago. I've also founded an equity crowdfunding platform called Finanza, where we help entrepreneurs secure funding through a form called equity crowdfunding. I believe I'll talk a little bit about that, which also reflect on today's topic, which is business strategy from idea to investment. I believe I have a few ideas I could share with you guys there. And coming back to Diners, we started humbly. I don't know if you guys know the ALU campus venture. At least that's how we used to call it in 2020, 2019. So that's how I started my business. It was me and a classmate, as you guys also, I'm sure some of you have already started small businesses here and there. Where we had an idea of, so we had an idea of what can we provide to the community, the ALU community. And yeah, basically we started from small from there. I'm sure you have a few questions on that topic. I'll be happy to share everything you guys want to know about that. But to talk briefly, because I want to close the introductions. So the business grew from that, because people notice when you do something, even if it's small. We started expanding into other things. Today we do trading, we do a few of construction, we do we are also heavy on events management. We are diners. Today is a team of 29 full-time employees, and me as the CEO. So briefly, yeah, that is the introduction. Thank you, Aliga. I hope I'll be able to share a few things with the class today. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, Joel, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much to hear from you again. And I didn't know that I have an admirator now, like among us right now. So I think, guys, you should learn from me right now.
Yeah.
So over the past few weeks now, our course has opened our eyes to the exciting opportunities and unique challenges of doing business now in Africa. So we have dived into everything from understanding the current business environment and identifying investment prospects to navigating legal business forms and what truly makes a business idea stand out and attract funding or investors or sponsors now. So, Mr. Serge, we want to just thank you so much for being here, and we are eager to learn from your wisdom. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Joel. So today I wanted us to have just a simple discussion. Think about, I'm one of you guys. I'm also an ALU. I'm still ALU. So feel free to ask anything. Feel free to challenge. I hope I would learn a few things from you guys, right? I did not. I wanted this to be not that structured one slide, because we've had so many of those in classes. I believe you two have them. So today it's just 2-3 people discussing, and I believe from that we can learn more things, hands-on experience, because we don't want to talk like in a friends will say like there's a way MBA people talk, so I don't want to be that. I just want to share what I go through on a daily basis, and looking to also learn from what you guys want to understand. Those of you from Rwanda, or those of you international, what can we do here in the country, in the region, and also globally? I believe I have a thing or two to share, and also learn from you guys.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Sergeant. We look to find these things in the answers you will give to the questions we have. So, guys, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So in case you have any questions along the way, kindly jot them down and you'll have an opportunity to share. All right, without further ado, our first question to you, Mr. Serge, is considering the dynamic business environment across Rwanda and Africa in general, what are some of the most promising sectors or untapped opportunities that you believe are ripe for investment by emerging entrepreneurs today? Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is a good one. So first, I want to talk about the landscape of Rwanda first, then the Africa region, the way I could say it. First, when I was in my undergrad at ALU, we used to learn this thing called the 7 great challenges and opportunities. Do we still have that, Prof. Titus?
A big yes.
All right.
Yes.
So there you have it. So Rwanda, Africa, as well, we are, I like to think that we are still lucky to have some untapped opportunities. There are still challenges to most of us. We have challenges in the food sector, people not having enough. If I talk on the food part, you understand because I deal with food a lot, right? So there's on that part, the agriculture, the agribusiness, we are still really behind. And when you look at the Africa geography, the African landscape and the population, you would think, why are we not tapping this sector? Because I've had the opportunity to travel and see wherever I go, I will look at how much people with less land masses, with less need for nutritious food, for uh, all these challenges that most of the African nations are facing today. We have stunting, we have malnutrition, we have people going plain hungry on the continent, and you will see the agriculture, the agri sector that is really untapped. You'd be surprised how much nations and economies rely on that grandma in the village that is going to plant his cabbages and bring it on the market. You would think, where are the people doing something bigger than this? Where are the educated folks that can actually tap into this market, bring the knowledge you have, bring in the technology? Yes, there are challenges. We have challenges on the investment, we have challenges on the skills and everything, but those are things that are solvable, and there are use cases all over the continent that people have already worked on this and solved it. Another thing, so that is one, agribusiness. Guys, if anybody in the team wants to tap into that sector, there's a lot, and I'll be happy to share, I think, or two. Second is the technology, right? The tech sector. As you all know, Africa, we are currently the youngest continent, right? The average age of an African, I believe, is 19. Somebody check this on Google. 19 years old. So those are the people, I know it's Gen Z and all of that. Those are the people who can easily understand these tech tools. Those are the people who utilizes tech, not just for social media and everything. You've seen young people doing amazing solutions that are helping the economies, that are helping, as I mentioned, those grandmas in the village, those people to actually do something more than what they were doing, and also leverage the network. Today, a kid in Rwanda and one in Togo can communicate, trade with each other. It's just that we have to come up with a tech solution that really talks to us. We don't have to wait for tech from Asia or USA or the West. That is not really going to solve the problem that we have, because we know what we are lacking. So on second sector, that will be tech. So anybody here, I know ALU, we all like startups. I've had many myself. So tech startup is good. If anybody here doing anything that, please ask a few questions. I'll be happy to tell you how to navigate that from what I know. And, so agri-tech, agri-business, tech, technology, there's healthcare. My people might start wondering, what am I going to do with healthcare? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but you'll be surprised how many solutions you can bring on in the tech sector. I believe is it ALU or ALX, but it's the community. There are a few young people having startups in this sector using AR, VR to help doctors, help patients, all those kind of technologies that you can introduce that is going to boost a sector. You don't have to be an expert in that. People like to say, ALU people, you guys will loot everything. Yes, we don't need to be expert there, but we know how to understand it better than the rest. All right. So looking into the healthcare sector, So yeah, I believe that was the first question, unless there was other aspects of the question that I didn't tap. Aliga, you can maybe.
Yes, absolutely. So I've definitely gotten my takeaway from that. It's agribusiness, technology, or healthcare. And we're looking at the entire value chain, not just one aspect. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Joel.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much again for different answers or responses that you gave us from the first question. But on my side, my question for you is, in an increasingly competitive market, how can a new startup in Africa effectively create and sustain a distinct competitive advantage, and what are the most critical factors entrepreneurs now should prioritize when building that unique edge?
That is a long question. Yeah. So whether it is today or in the past, one thing me personally, but I've realized it works, that I'll tell myself or tell any other entrepreneur, when you are creating any solution, it doesn't have this I don't know if I could emphasize it enough. When you're creating any solution or you are thinking of any solution, first think of the value you are bringing, right? Think of, what am I solving? Once you have the value, you might wonder, how will I know that this is the value? Because entrepreneurs, sorry to say it, I like to say we are crazy. So you start to think, you will see a challenge somewhere, you will not sleep until you know you've done something about it. But there's a trick. There's this term called solutionism. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, where you are solving a problem that is not there, or you are solving a problem that is not a pain point in that particular time, or a problem that somebody is already halfway solving, where you might as well have gotten built on top of what they're doing. This is something I've seen many times. You guys have attended hackathon. Me myself, I've won multiple with at ALU. Some good money, remember? Yeah. So please think of the value you are bringing. The one thing that I've realized that can help you validate yourself that you are actually bringing value is that someone is willing to pay for it. Okay, I'm sure if I had a slide, I would not mention that, because there are solutions that people don't really, that is not making money. How you've heard startups, hey, we are 2 years in business, and we have not made a profit, or we have not made sales. We are still building. You know, startup founders like to say all those buzzwords, right? So whatever you are creating, please, if someone is willing to pay for it, that's your validation. Means you are solving something that people are actually willing to spend their money on. Once you have the value, that you know the value that you are bringing is there. Now start thinking of the proper channel, or that you are going to deliver that solution. I'm not sure. I'm sure some of you have heard of this. Oh, we are leveraging AI to do X and Y. Oh, we are using blockchain technology. Those are things. Please, those guys who can unmute, say they've heard of it. So this is something that we've seen in so many African startups, that we get easily distracted into these new emerging buzz tech words. I'll give you an example. Who remember it was these NFTs? You guys remember NFT? Or some of you were still in high school. That was 2020 or 2021, if I remember well. Right? So those are something that came. Everybody was spending a lot of money on a monkey picture. You guys remember that? NFTs. Okay, so so the reason I'm saying this is that tech changes every time. This new tech, this new trend changes every time, and you will see somebody who is selling. Let's say you are selling fruits, or you are selling phones on the market, and you have to put somewhere you are leveraging NFTs and tokenization or those kind of things where it's a distraction. So first of all, the value you're bringing to your client is the first thing that you need to focus on as an entrepreneur. Once you have the value, then everything will start to come clear. You be ready to understand that you don't know anything at that particular moment. Be open to learn what the industry, what the market is teaching you. Then after you've understood those basics, just do it. The question was first-time entrepreneurs looking to establish their businesses. It's good to have an idea. I've had so many ideas myself. When I spend a year or two without implementing, only to wake up and you see somebody else doing it and doing it better. So if you have an idea as a first-time entrepreneur, yes, it is scary, but just venture into it, make mistakes. It's part of the learning process. I don't know, Joe, if I've answered. I myself also got distracted with NFTs, but
I think everything is clear because I got some key insight there that we should, any solution that we bring maybe to the market needs to have certain value, and
yes,
also we need to know what we are really maybe solving now, because we say sometimes we can try to solve something or bring maybe a tool on the market, but customers are not really maybe willing to pay for that product.
yeah.
And then,
Sorry.
yeah,
I wanted to add also, if the reason I was saying if somebody is willing to pay for it, then you have a validation, is that you've seen so many startup in the tech sector or any other sector out there that has been in business since 2-3 years. Hey, we are raising our Series A, our Series B, or those kind of different capital raising stages. But you would ask one question: what do you guys do? What do you sell? Or what is the product that is, as we say, keeping the lights on? And most of them will not give you a definite answer. So it means they got lost. Maybe they got lost on the way. They were much more they were attracted by the grant money. I know I'm talking to ALU people because I know there's so many grants flying everywhere at ALU. So some people would just pivot their business in order to follow a certain grant when you get the money, and that's it, right? You've seen similar cases.
yes.
So that is not entrepreneurship. We say it's grantpreneurship because you're just following for the grant money. Grants are good, but use it to actually boost your original idea, boost what you were thinking to do. Feel free to pivot your business if you see there's a new change. Some people we call it to fall in love with your solution, which is not really highly recommended. You started a business thinking you are going to do A, then along the way you see there's a need for B. That is, you can just shift and go there, see how it goes, come back. Most of the ALUs are in mid-20s, early 20s. You still have time to do it, right? So yeah, Joel, I believe I've answered that part of the question.
Yeah. So everything is okay now. So we need to have proper channels to deliver that solution. We need also to look at the market structure before launching any business or ideas. So I think it was just insightful. So thank you so much.
Sorry to also disturb you again. On the channel, I mentioned which proper channel you have to deliver. So, I'm going to say this: not every solution needs a mobile app, right? Not every solution needs an app, a web platform, or I believe you guys have seen this where you will go, we have an app for A, B, C, D. Like, I can just call them on a phone and that's it, right? So not every solution needs an app. So it's maybe one solution, the proper channel to reach the targeted market is through an app. If I ask any particular person, how many apps do you have on your phone? We all have Instagram. We have not Facebook, please. Nobody has Facebook, right? We have Instagram. We have YouTube, Gmail. I use emails a lot. All those kind of things. So it's really, that's when you see people that you have an app to do A, then you need that another app to do an. Who has? Mitia has Facebook. How old are you? Anyway, so Pinterest, yes. So all those kind of apps. So if some solution of your colleague tells you you have to go download the app, yes, we do it for the support. They are our friends. You go to the app once, twice. When your phone is full, that is the first thing you're going to remove. You cannot remove your Instagram. You will remove those kind of apps. So I wanted to mention every solution has its own proper way to reach its target audience. Email can be just fine, or your look behind of how things used to be done before. Now we have AI. You've heard AI everywhere. We are using AI to do this. We are using AI. Not all automated thing is AI, guys. Not everything. There are even regular apps that has been there for years before this AI, and people will just say we are using AI for A, B, C, D. So it's not AI. Everything doesn't need AI. Yes, you can use it to make it better. We've seen AI chatbots. We've seen ChatGPT. You guys have not seen ChatGPT, right? The prof is doing and nobody knows, yeah? We never use it.
They have seen it many times.
We never use it for our assignments and everything. So what I'm mentioning is that it's good to leverage the tech that is available at a particular moment, but make sure it is your proper channel to deliver your solution to your clients, right? I believe I've shed some light on that channel part. All right, Joel, let me stop distracting you guys. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm sure Mr. Titus and Dennis have Facebook, but let me not start a war. Okay, moving on to our next question. We see that we've been learning a lot about legal forms, specifically in theory, but on the field, this is bound to be different. So our question is, for a first-time entrepreneur looking to establish a business, particularly in Rwanda, could you walk us through the essential steps and key requirements for one, business registration, and also share insights on the benefits and challenges of choosing a particular legal structure? So maybe sole proprietorship versus partnerships or corporation. Yes.
All right. So, does anybody here have a legal background? No. All right. So in Rwanda, in order for you to start a business, it has to be, there is a few government bodies that it needs to be registered with. I believe it's the same in many other African countries, but not particularly in the same format. There's one called the RDB, the Rwanda Development Board, where you have to register the business you do. You have to come up with the name of your business. And that's where you have to highlight number of shareholders, number of shares that is going to be divided amongst the shareholders. that is also where you are going to mention what the company does, right? Which is tricky for young entrepreneurs, because I might start selling wood, but the next morning I'll see I'm interested in healthcare. Now I have to go back and add all those kind of things. So it's a challenge that the government knows, and they've made it a bit easier for you to add or remove some certain services that you provide or products. So we tell entrepreneurs, okay, the government will tell you to register on the first, the very first time you are starting. But me, who has been there, I like to say in the trenches, please first validate the business first. You cannot, let's say you just have an idea right now with your friend, we want to do A, B, C, D. Guys, spend months, 2-3 months before you start your registration process. The reason I say this is that, as I said, things change. Some people cannot handle stress of a business for 3 months, for 2 months. It's also in the period of 3 months or so, a few months, you know what your business is going to be doing. Is Kamanzi raising a hand? Maybe if something.
Sorry,
So
guys.
over there,
Oh, I was just going to say, could you please reserve the questions for the Q&A session at the end, just so we don't lose our time? Thank you very much. I'll remember your name, Yedidiah. Thank you.
Right. So once you've started, remember, 3 months is basically 90 days. Is you are still perfecting the idea. You now know, oh, these are the people we are going to stick with in the company. These are the things we are going to do. Then go ahead. It's a really simple registration process that you can do online yourself. It's in English. You can read, put in the what you do. It's just a tip that I believe I should share with people. Other people will tell you, oh, just register on the first day. Yes, it's good, but speaking from experience, it's not, right? Then once you know what you guys are going to do, you've registered with the RDB, then RDB is linked with the Rwanda tax system. It's called the Rwanda Revenue Authority. That's why I was telling you, you know what you are going to do, because I remember in my days with the AD, we used to register our groups, business ideas. We go straight to registration. We're like 15 people. After 2 months, 7 of them are never showing up in the meetings, in the project meetings. Now we have to go back to remove them from the list, which is a long process. While we are doing that, now we say we are not going to do A, we are going to do B. Now we have to go back. It's a long process that you don't need to go through. Yes, it's easy. In Rwanda, it's really easy. Registration takes only like 6 months, 6 hours to be put on the system. You fill the form online. I'm sure I'll share some links. Then your registration only takes like 6, yes. See, Linnea can relate. So it's only take like 6 hours. So you register today, by tomorrow everything is done. But you have to be just give it time first. Give your business what it's going to do. Then you start the registration process. This is linked with the tax. That's why I said you need to know who are you with and what are you doing in that. Because guys, if the tax man knocks, you open, right? When the tax, so we have a whole 2 years in Rwanda. There's a 2 years tax exemption on new businesses registered. So because they also know new business doesn't really know what's going on. So you have a whole 2 years of tax exemption, right? But that is the income tax. When I say tax, it's not completely zero. It's on I believe it's on the income tax, but sales tax, if you start releasing invoices on the system, you are going to be taxed for that, right? You have to also learn, understand things of if I solve. So many of the ALU and young people startups are usually service based. So you are selling a service to clients A, B, C, D. So if you are selling service, it means you have a higher sales on the system. It's called the EBM system. You have higher sales, but you can't really prove where you get your purchase or where you spend, how much you spend in order to deliver that service, right? Let's say you have a startup for calling vehicles, and you earn a SaaS fee or a commission on every transaction, and so that is good. Money is coming in. You are releasing the invoices. But again, how are you going to show that you've already paid the drivers because they don't give you the invoice? So those are the things that you need to understand before you just plainly go and register everything, right? Talk to I believe most of this information is online, but one thing in Rwanda that I know is that the government is very transparent with what is there. So the documentations are there. Take one time to read it. If the page is too long, remember, we say we don't know ChatGPT, just put it there. It will minimize it for you so you can easily understand it. Some of us know how to prompt it very well. I see everybody understands that. Okay? No one is going to read a 20-page government document. That I know, right? But if you can't go through it at the particular, I know you cannot afford a lawyer to go through it, but we have ChatGPT to minimize it. At least you understand the basics. You prompt it to tell you what do you need to be careful of, what you need to, all those kind of things. Then everything is easy. You start your business, you start making sales, you start to produce whatever you're producing. If you are into hardware, you are into all those kind of things. So those are the basic ones. So there are other registration that are industry specific. Let's say you are producing, we mentioned healthcare. Let's say you are going to start importing and distributing medical equipments. Maybe that is a bit high, but yeah, dream big, yeah? So you need to be registered under the Rwanda Drug FDA. They have to understand what you're going to do. That is one example. If you are dealing with food, you have to have Rwanda standard for health, food safety. If you are dealing with financial services, this is tricky. In my experience, I mentioned we had a fintech startup called Finanza. Up to date, we are stuck in the in the process. Why? It's a financial service that is going to gather money from people and distribute it to other money. You are basically like a bank. So if you don't go through the paperwork well, they might think you are a bank. To register a bank in Rwanda, you would need like $1 million deposit. You will need so many aspects. So that's how I thought, and I was scared to do it. Later, that's when I realized actually the Central Bank of Rwanda promotes those kind of financial service fintech. They even have a sandbox where you are trained, where you have like up to 1 year. It used to be 6 months, but I believe now it's 1 year. You can test your products on the market under the umbrella of the central bank, under the protection of the central bank. So those are challenges that were there before, but slowly the government understands how things are supposed to be. They understand the challenges that young entrepreneurs are going through, and they make all these kind of solutions for them in order to start and run the businesses. So I believe that is what I can share regarding the registration. First, the company incorporation with the RDB, as I mentioned. The RDB is linked with the tax system, where it has its own portals, but most of the time this is linked. You use the same TIN number on both. There's 2 or 3 platforms that you need to understand, but it's all in English. It's easy to navigate. Do not just register since you are still in your ideation. Start small, see how it goes, then you can register later. That is a tip. But the recommended is that whenever you're starting, you have to register. I'm just giving you a tip as somebody who has seen this before. Then you have to think of the industry specific registrations, depending on what sector you are going to do your venture in. If it's I've mentioned it, financial services is regulated by the Rwanda Central Bank. Investment scheme is registered by the Rwanda Capital Markets. The healthcare and food is registered by Rwanda FDA. There's so many aspects, but the good thing in Rwanda, there's one thing called one-stop center, where everything you need, you can find it actually under one desk, right? So they will call all these people involved in your sector. You get all your registration and certifications and everything there under one desk, and you just go home with one platform where you can control everything. That is the case in Rwanda. For other African countries, if I mention Kenya or any other, it's a bit much longer process, but it all comes under in those kind of processes. So yeah, then other things will be opening a bank account. Remember, we started like 15 people, so everybody's on the bank account. Then later, as 3 or 4 people have to go. These people are no longer with the business. Are you going to go to the bank again to remove them from? It's a long process. That's why I say just give it a few months. If you started, you've tested everything, you know who are you with, then go ahead and continue with the process. Right. I think that is I could share on that part.
Thank you very much, sir. The second half of the question was about a legal structure, but perhaps we can interweave that into another question.
Unless, do we still have time?
I think so. If you can make it a short response,
A
yes.
short one, yeah. So on the legal structure, we mentioned, is it limited by shares? Is it an incorporation? Is it sole proprietorship, or those kind of things? That's why the 3 months, guys. That's what the months I was mentioning. You need to understand those. How are you going to? You might end up solo. You started a business. It's not highly recommended. We say the odds of a startup succeeding in Africa is much better when the founders are more than one. Right? Speaking from my experience, when you are a solo founder, any money comes to the business, you think it's your money. You will go out, you will buy the latest gadgets and everything, because there's no one else controlling you, right? Every solo entrepreneur, I've been a solo entrepreneur myself. I know it's really, when you don't have a control, you're the boss. Everybody is under you. It's easy to lose the money. It is easy to finish off the investment thinking it's your cash. So when you are 2, first of all, ideas are shared among 2. The heavy road, entrepreneurship is not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It's not easy. So when you are 2 or 3, when you are more than 1, there's that spirit of work amongst you. There's a downside to it. Ideas, the navigation takes a bit longer. The decisions takes quite another step to move. But that is the process. Maybe because your co-founder did not allow you to do because they know something, they've shared something, and you are able to avoid some mistakes along the way. So the odds are better when you are more than 1. That has been proven the statistics there. There's a reason all these venture VCs or these grants and everything does not easily provide funds for solo founders. Solo founder is it's all those challenges. So to answer your question, just give it time first. Those few months I mentioned, it depends on what sector you are doing. I'm sure as you have already started again, now you know how you are going to structure your business. But another tip on that one, particularly in Rwanda, it's always better to have a company registered, limited by shares. You don't want the tax people to come collect your own house and sell it once you are not able to sell to pay off the tax, right? So have a business itself, it's its own entity, okay? Whatever the business owns is for the business. If something goes south, this happens a lot in a business, the only things at risk is those registered under the business, not you personally. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that response. We recently submitted our summative where we had to design a business, and personally for mine, I was ready to be my own boss and eat business money, but I'll think about it now. But yes, thank you for those insights about the RDB, about validating our businesses even before we register them, and basically doing our research. Over to you, Joel.
Yeah, thank you again. And on my side, my second question would be for students like us now who are just starting to build financial literacy, what are some practical strategies now for distinguishing between saving and investing? And based on your experience, which investment avenues, examples that like bonds, stocks, or real estate, might be most accessible or beneficial for an initial investor in this region?
All right. So you guys have money, eh? Yeah. So anyway, so as students, the reason I believe I'll share so many things on this part is that I started all this as a student, right? So in the context, are we talking about the ALU stipends, the MasterCard scholars in the house, the rich people, right? So
the average African.
Yeah. So as a young person, I will not suggest putting your money in the bonds right now. Question comes, what are you afraid of? So the bond market usually is you're buying government issued bonds. The interest on those is usually even many times less than 10% in a year. So unless you have $1 million or $10 million, yes, you can do that. But if you are saving your 2,000, your 5,000, I believe you'll be better served to partner with your friend and start something together. He brings 2,000, you bring another 2,000, you start a business of your liking. You go throughout the process. The reason I'm saying this is that my earliest investors were my classmates. I said $2,000, not random. That will not even buy you lunch at diners. Right? So the reason I'm saying this, it's easy. It's okay to be safe with the money. It's okay to be cautious of where you put your money. But one of the advantages of starting a business as a student is that the responsibilities are still small. Some of us, if you have already paid your landlord the rent, you have transport, mortally cash to go to campus and go back home. That's basically it. Maybe you can go out once or twice in a month. I know some people go there every day or every Friday at Coco Bean, and anyway, so you'll be better served to invest the money with your friends and start something. In my experience, I was mentioning my earliest investors were my classmates. Somebody gave me like $1,000 when I was starting. That $1,000 later, he wanted to exit. As I mentioned, he wanted the money back. We calculated and everything. It was above 5,000 in less than 1 year, right? So if I give you an example, when I joined ALU, it was 2018, if I remember well. We didn't have much of these scholarships. There was only like one scholarship in the conservation area. I was doing computer science. I wasn't in that sector, so there was not that scholarship, which is the case for some people in the house. But nowadays, I've seen people using their stipend from MasterCard and the other scholarship that is now available. I've heard there's much more now to actually start ventures. The reason I'm saying this, it's when if you can win a grant or you can get a bank loan, and that is okay. But when you know the money is your savings, the money you were supposed to be enjoying like everybody else, now it's another layer of focus on the business, because you know I cannot lose this. Now, if you know you are now in a joint venture or a partnership with your classmate or with your friend, where you know the money also came from, it's a hard-earned money. Now that is, I call it, it's another layer for you to focus on the business. So, Joel, to answer your question, I would not recommend you to put that money unless it's a significant amount in the bonds. I would suggest you start investing collectively with like 2-3 people, right? Yeah, like Queen said, it's either you win or win. That is true. If that is gone, you are still in your early 20s, man, there's no opportunities to make more. This is the right moment to take those risks. Good thing we have this good education. We are now learning about business strategy. Now you will understand, you know how to do the business better than somebody who've never seen these things before. You have the advantage of doing A, B, C, D. And once you've started the business, and now you will see the results of your money you thought it was small starting to grow. People start to notice what you do. And yeah, from there, it's business as usual. I hope I answered that.
Yeah. So I think everything was clear, and we need to be really cautious while trying to find maybe a good way maybe to invest or to start a business, because we said we need maybe to find partners now. We can work alone in this world, so we need other people's supports now, maybe to have maybe big impact now, maybe on the market. So I think everything is clear, and I'm gonna let my fellow colleague to continue the question.
Okay, thank you very much, Joel. So for my final question to you, Mr. Serge, looking ahead, what emerging trends or shifts in the African business landscape do you foresee that future entrepreneurs should be particularly attuned to? And then what general advice would you give would you give us as we prepare to launch our own ventures? Yes.
The trends on the African continent. So let me start globally. I've said it before, AI, right? So people in the house, me included, what can we use AI? How can we use AI as first to tap into the opportunities that is available right now on the continent, right? That is the trend. But also whenever everybody is going to invest in anything, you have to, we in our, sorry to, in our MBA class, we like to say, yes, we say we want to do business on the continent. We are the Pan-African business people, but do we really understand Africa as a continent? If I ask some people, what are the ports, where the largest ports on the continent, where the goods come from, what are the routes that is used to get the products we have in our hand. Let's say you are a producer in Rwanda, you want to get your goods in Togo. Where can you get those products through, and what are the process included, the Incoterms, all those kind of things. So those are the challenges that business people are facing every day on the continent. But now with the young people, the technology, how can we leverage the tech, the AI, and those other knowledge that we have today available to us that was not available to them back then, in order to ease to make ease the process of doing business amongst each other. About that, we need to trade with one another more. I'm sure you guys have been watching the news, you know, the Ukraine war, the sanctions, all these kind of things happening in the global world. If Africa first we traded amongst ourselves. We are lucky at ALU, we are a community of many different nationalities. If you can talk to your colleague from Zimbabwe, what they need, and you might see it being manufactured in Tanzania or in Nigeria, that is a much more opportunity than somebody there in Zim who has never met anybody from Nigeria, who cannot understand. These are the people you live with on a daily basis for entire 4 years. So you know them, you can trust them, and the process can be much simpler. I've used that process myself. So to answer the question, the trends are in the AI, but do not use AI for anything, guys. As I mentioned, everything doesn't need an app, everything doesn't need AI, but there's a way to leverage that AI technology that in order to make things that were really challenging to learn a business before, and you can use it to make it simpler. There's now smarter AI that can easily tells you how many regulations you have to go through in order to get a product from country A to country B. It can get you the contacts. It can get you all those kind of things. Now you see you are using it in order to make your other regular businesses much simpler. Second, trade with each other a bit more. Look for what they need. Maybe give you an example. We all know M-Pesa from Kenya. That is a really good tech that has worked very well for Kenya. Maybe it can work, or something similar can work for people in Botswana or people from Tunisia, something like that. I don't know. Using the network we have in order to, create solutions and take what we have seen working in other countries, adapt it to other. It's one of the opportunities that we have, that so many so many solutions have not reached our markets yet. And that is the opportunity for young entrepreneurs, for us to actually use that in order to solve the solution, bring the value, and get paid for it, right? Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for that response, sir. I think, yes, now I do understand that we can use AI to make current solutions more feasible or even more effective. And that, of course, we are African people, and a part of being Pan-African is trading with other countries. That is the economical aspect of it. So thank you very much. Over to you, Joel, for our final question.
Yeah, thank you again. And my final question would be, looking ahead, what emerging trends or shifts in the African business landscape do you foresee that future entrepreneurs now should particularly attune to, and what overarching advice now would you give us as student now as we prepare to launch our own ventures now?
Sorry, Joel, that's the question I just asked. Could you ask my
Yeah,
number 3?
I'm
I
sorry.
interchanged them.
Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
sure.
Sorry.
I think I've answered that one. Yeah.
You answer that one?
Yeah, that was the
Yes.
question we were.
Ask my third question. Sorry, that was my
But we can add a few.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
So for that question, like my question is beyond beyond a compelling problem solution fit, what space or character now to remake a business idea investor ready in the African context, and how crucial is the underlying revenue or business model in securing funds?
all right. Um, I believe I mentioned a bit on this earlier, guys. Whoever will invest, whoever will buy, whoever would like to partner with you, will look at one thing: what is the value, right? What is the value you are bringing to the market? What is, for the investor, there will be, what is the value you are bringing to them, right? These VC people, okay, they are helpful, but they are not your friend. They want to make money, okay? So you have to understand the value you are bringing them, because if you know the value you are bringing to them, then you are in a better position to negotiate better. Have you guys seen all these meme where you will find a young startup founder signing away 75% of their company, 50% of their company on the early stage, because you don't really understand the value that you are bringing them, that you are willing to sign off more than you even have in order to stay afloat. So that is one. Second, in order to have a business investor ready in the context of Africa, I believe people in the Silicon Valley in the West have it easier than us, guys. Um, on the continent, people would like to see, where have you done this before? Can you show us a use case? Can you show us how can I call it, testimonies, like from clients, recommendation letters, all those kind of things for your solution to be trusted. So we are on the African continent now. The capital is a bit still very expensive. Maybe some countries have it easier than the other, but speaking, for example, on the example of the East African market, it is a bit more complicated than the people on the West. Why? We've had so many scandals. Have you guys heard of the Nigerian prince? Those was from the 90s, right? People asking money and ran away with it. You've heard of this pyramid scheme, right? So it means our markets, the capital, the cash market has been very contaminated, if I can say that, with bad cases, to the point that it's hard for people, for anybody to trust your investing in you that easily than it will be if you were based in Silicon Valley or elsewhere. So one thing I would recommend, I'm speaking from my own experience, one would be, have a use case, right? Whatever your idea is, no one is going to believe it unless they've seen it work, unless they have talked to the users. How do you get users? Please do not focus on the money first. We are business people. We like to make money. There's no doubt about it. But in order to have your solution, to have that first adopting customers, be willing to even give something pro bono, something for free to a potential customer in order to have that use case. Because to you, the use case, the recommendation, the client testimonial is much more valuable than that service you are giving them once for free or for on a cost basis. Focus on having a use case. The reason I'm saying that, it also gives you your own validation of your product. If let's say you have a startup that does A or B, then there's no one willing to even talk to you about it. Some cases are even worse. You go to offer it to a client for free, they'll be like, I'm good. Means you have to reevaluate. If somebody doesn't even want your thing for free, will there be anyone who will pay for it, right? People will pay. Maybe they don't understand my solution and everything. If your solution cannot be understood by the users, go back to the writing and redesign and do it again, because that is the crucial part of any business. You have to have a customer, early business, to have a use case, be willing to do whatever it takes to have the product in the hands of the client. Once you have that, you have the use case. Those are the data that you're going to collect, and now you have a business idea that you have developed. Now you have an MVP, or the early customers that can recommend or even say, I've used this product before. Once you have that, now you are in a better position to negotiate with your investors, to negotiate with your partners, because you've seen this is something that the market needs and they are willing to use it or even pay it. I believe that is what I can share on that part.
Okay, thank you so much. And from what you said, that we need to look at maybe the value proposition of a solution now, and then we need to have a use case, as you mentioned before. And also we need to be clear about the solution that you are bringing to the market or to the investors or sponsors now. And if it's like having an idea isn't just enough. Yes, it's not enough just having an idea. So we need to look like proper ways now to maybe launch our business after going through the required now processes now to have maybe a better outcome after. So thank you so much for your answer about my last question. So I'm going to give the floor to Aliga to continue the last part of it.
Okay, so we've done a lot of talking, a lot of listening, and a lot of learning. And now it's to everybody else on the call. We're opening the floor for the question and answer session. And I'd like to start off with Yedidia Kamanzi. You had your hand up earlier. Please go ahead. For other people, sorry, before you go, for other people, you can raise your hand or pop your question in the chat and we'll read it out. Yedidia.
Okay, thank you. I hope you guys are getting me. Okay, yeah. I had two questions. The first one, I just wanted to ask you, like here at LAU, a lot of we young entrepreneurs we tend to have with many ideas and we keep shifting them. So I wanted to ask you this: how do you actually know which idea is the right one to stick with and invest in? And even more, how can you tell if it's the right time for the idea? Because sometimes it might be great, but the environment or even the government priorities doesn't support it yet. So from experience, what signals or strategies helps you decide when an idea is truly worthy pursuing or investing in? Are you getting me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, and the second one, we young entrepreneurs also have this thing of seeking advice from people who are already working the same sector we want to enter. So the question is, do you think that too much advice can actually discourage us or delay us from starting? And how do you personally balance learning from others with trusting your own instincts and just taking action?
All right. Thanks, Kamanzi. So the first question was about how do you know this is the right idea? Because as you said, young people, we have so many ideas to go with. I wanted to say, hey, look for the one that people are paying for, but it's much bigger than that. right? First of all ideas, as we said, comes with the moment. What is the right moment to implement this? Are the target audience that I'm thinking ready for this product now?
There's generally saying, "One can buy you love, one cannot buy."
Blessing, can you mute?
Good.
Okay, I mean,
Where
mute you. Please go ahead, Saj. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. So I was mentioning that in order to validate which idea to do, first of all, in order to implement it, first thing is you mentioned something, does the government support it? As a good entrepreneur, myself, I would think, the first thing that you need to think while you are doing your solution or your product, don't think of the government supporting it unless the government is your client. First, look what does the client wants. Whoever is going to support anything will be we'll first look at what clients were using. Second, if somebody is buying your product or is willing to use your product, that is a validation immediately. Develop it. It's okay to pivot into other things based on that, but the idea that people are willing to pay for me, it's a validation. Second, if your product is not being accepted on the market now because the government policies is not aligned with it at the moment, or the client are not seeing its value now, I would think it's not the right moment to do that particular idea. You can wait a little bit, see if that catch up, or think of a different client base. So if your customers are not receiving your product at that particular moment, maybe try the other segment of the market. If that doesn't work, make sure you are not having solutionism. Make sure you're not solving a problem that is not there, right? They evaluate, pivot, be open to hear what they actually want. I've seen entrepreneurs, me myself, I've done it, where you are doing something at that particular moment that is, yes, it is stressful and everything, but it does not have to mean that is all you are capable of. It's just that is what the market at the moment is receiving. Then you are always in a high advantage doing that particular moment there while you are thinking of a bigger thing. So once you reach there, it will be easy. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are selling products to companies, for example. Your whole segment of customers are institutions, corporate clients, right? But you have a better product that you can put on the market that it will be consumer, like regular consumer every day, that are in high volume. You don't have to stop that corporate company or clientele part yet. It's always okay to do that while you are learning the other things, or while you are learning how you are going to implement for the bigger market. The reason I say this, every experience that an entrepreneur goes through is a lesson, and you use that lesson in order to implement what you actually want to do. What was the second question?
I was asking if it's like it's that necessary to seek advice from people who are already working the same sector we want to enter.
Yeah. So you are entrepreneurs today, they are in a much better position to have even those people to talk to. Can you imagine entrepreneurs in the 70s where they were starting something where no one ever in their country has done it? Let's say you want to start, there's this one idea of one of the big old people in Rwanda who used to sell mattresses, right? It was not common. I think they started in the 1940s. It was still in the colonial era. So somebody would move from Rwanda, they only understand one language, Kinyarwanda, their mother tongue. They would hear news maybe from the colonizers or whatever that there is a factory in Kenya making mattresses. They will collect money, they will go find where to exchange it, they will find a translator, they will go to Kenya, they will bring it. So there's no transfer, there's no security. Those are the big challenges those entrepreneurs passed through back then that we are lucky today to never go through. So if you have sources of information, A, B, C, D, it's now up to you, the entrepreneurs, to remove what you actually need from what they said. You don't have to believe anybody 100% or plainly or blindly like that. But as we were saying, in this AI age, a lot of information is not bad information. It's just information you have to that you can actually collect the good parts out of. It's better to have more than have none. If I answered your question. Tamanzi?
Yeah, Didi, are you with us? Okay, perhaps she's having
All right.
connection issues. Thank you very much for that response. Next, we can have Queen Keza, and then Sipelele, you can go next.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Morning.
My question is kind of similar to Yedidia's one. My question is like, let's say for instance that you launch your business MVP for like 3 months. How long would it take you, in your experience, how long would it take you to determine whether it's actually gaining the traction or the worth for moving forward? Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Keza. Thing about any solution is that every solution is unique, right? It's unique in its own making, in its own delivery. So first of all, you start with the, I want to mention data, but young people, most of us don't even record a lot of things. But let's say you're selling your product, you've seen the traction on Instagram, which is totally different on the clientele. Some people confuse the two. You think people who are watching you on your product on Instagram are actually clients. You'll be surprised how much the percentage can be, less than 5% who are going to even buy. So in order to validate that, I believe most of these questions are coming on the validation, or is what I'm doing really and say, how am I going to know that this is the product? First, look, how many approaches did you get in those 3 months? 3 months normally is a really short time to know this is what the right thing and I'm willing to do. But in my experience, first, if you can spend 90 days without one single sale, it means maybe the product is not bad, but there's something wrong you are doing. Let's say your marketing, your delivery of the product. Are you using a mobile app to reach the clientele? Are you using social media? Are you going to knock on the doors of the clients in order to reach? So in those 90 days you mentioned, it will be it's your time to evaluate what is wrong with the business. It's not always the product. The product might be very nice, but there's other aspects that is not there yet. Your marketing, your delivery, your relationship with your clients. So in those 3 months, it's time for you to play around with that idea and change what you need to change. Give it more time, because again, it comes back to what kind of solution you are providing, and you as well as a person. Let's say you are an entrepreneur and that is the business you are doing is the source of your livelihood. Your landlord is not going to spend 3 months without the paying rent and everything. If you're leaving the parents, that's even better. Now you have more room to make more risks, right? Because you don't have that much responsibility on yourself. So to answer the question is, look what is not right in the business. It doesn't have to always be the product, but sometimes it is the product that you are selling that is not needed on the market, or where you are, the location. You guys have learned this, the three fundamentals of any business: the capital, the location, and what the people, the human, right? So look into that. Am I in the right location? Is this the right place to sell this particular solution? Service provider, that's even trickier. Am I following up with the in the service industry? It's always, big part is always on the client. What kind of client are you targeting now? Are you able to, do you have the use case? As I mentioned, why would a client, whenever you are trying to sell a product, think of, you, would I buy this product? Why would a client come to me? So once you can answer yourself that, now you know how to even market yourself better, appeal to the client. And yeah, I don't know, Keza, did I answer your question? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Sipelele?
Hi everyone. So I want to go back to the financial part. Firstly, I'd just like to put it out there that thank you for mentioning that we can ask our colleagues for money. I don't want, when I ask my colleagues for money, then they ask me questions. Just send me the money and just do what you need to do. The man said it. But I want to go to the part of investments. As a student, a young entrepreneur, let me be specific, a broke student and a broke entrepreneur, where do you think,
broke, yeah.
where do you think would be a safe place for young entrepreneurs to put their investments in? So you mentioned bonds and how we shouldn't go there, but I feel like that's like for the big boys right now.
Right.
I feel like that's for the big boys right now, but like as a person that's still like in the seeding level, where do you think would be a good investment to put in and like actually have a low risk, but like potentially a return that can potentially just be steady and, you know, not Forex vibes and just, you know, be within?
All right. Now, so so where would you put your money? That is a question that no one can answer you directly, you know. But what I could tell you is that look with the, first of all, you, if you're an entrepreneur, you have an idea, you believe in you, right? There's no one is going to believe in your business than you yourself. Say you've had this idea that has been bugging you for a long time. Just start writing things. You know, when you're writing your business idea, some ideas also start coming up. Talk to your friends about it. There's this fear of people, if I tell them this to that person, he's gonna steal my idea. Guys, ideas are free. It's the implementation, right? Then if that little money that you can have at the moment, see if you can put it in your business there. If it burns, we are already broke. Remember, we're students. It's expected us to be broke. Nobody's going to laugh at you. You can try it the next 3-4 months, right? First, look between, like, am I the one who's going to be invested in? Or if you see there's somebody else with a better idea and you see you think you can give much, you can bring it the ideas, you can bring that idea to the market, partner with them, put together that little money that is available, invest together, have it documented. Guys, you don't want to have those fights in the class. I've seen it before. You just meet your buddy, give me this, they will give it to you. Nothing is documented. Once the money starts coming in, you just cut them off. We've seen it. it's first of all, it's unethical, but it's a source of fights amongst friends, and that is not how business is supposed to be done. So document what you guys are doing together with your colleagues. I believe at ALU there's so many business ideas amongst students, amongst you guys, that you can do together, and your money will be better spent there than in the bonds, as we said. All right. Sivelela, I don't know if I've answered your...
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Serge. Ish, I see the comment section, there's business happening. Guys, even me. Anyways, Felix, please go ahead and ask your question, and then we'll have Gaten.
Good. Thanks for the presentation. Appreciate it. So you talked about having at least 90 days to try to validate or filter the business idea. And I also understand that in places like Rwanda, where there's a system in place, that means that there's also consequences. With too much freedom comes responsibility and stuff. So if I'm to implement, I'm implementing a business, but then I just need to validate it. So without registering with the legal entities, are there some suggestions on how I can navigate the 90 days without breaching any structure that is in place, other than not operating without being registered? Like, I'm just making a suggestion. How can I operate without like bridging the law to a degree? Because if you are caught operating and you're not registered, I'm pretty sure there's consequences to that.
Oh yeah. So thanks, Felix. So first of all, it's not fixed number. It doesn't have to be 90 days. The reason I mentioned, you have to give yourself time in order to first understand what you are. So what I wanted you guys to avoid was, hey, I have an idea on Monday. Let's go on Tuesday to register this. That's when you start getting into a lot of troubles. So Felix, it's not fixed 90 days. If you can do it in 5 days, please, by all means, right? And you mentioned something, if I'm not registered, then how am I going to start operating? How am I going to start getting all those clients? Every client will ask you, are you registered, and everything. So if we use the case of Rwanda, there's so many sandbox. So it's called a sandbox. These programs where entrepreneurs can, do and test their ideas before you can actually go and register it. So you've heard, if you are not so sure about the idea, we have so many. We used to have ALU Ventures before, where entrepreneurs can just you learn all these things before you can start registering your business. There's so many out there programs. It's a lot. Incubation program, I hear that's what they're called. You can go through, meet co-founders, meet all those kind of people. So it's not 19 days fixed. Second, be transparent about it. Hey, I'm having this software solution that I want you guys to use. I'm not yet registered, but if you can, take this product, try it out. If you like it, you let me know. Because look, in those few days, you're only looking for the MVP. I hope you're not looking to make money in the first month of your business. It's highly unlikely. So focus on having the first clients, the use case, and then you can, expand from there. All right.
Thank you very much. Gaten, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. So I have a question. Like, as future, like aspiring entrepreneurs, every time you wake up, like every day you wake up with new ideas, and sometimes you feel confused and lost which advices can you give us for us to not be dispersed and to channel all of those ideas?
Mr. Serge, are you with us?
Sorry, I was talking muted. Sorry to ask the last brother who just spoke. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, I said, as aspiring entrepreneurs, sometimes you wake up with new ideas, like it means a new day, new ideas. And we don't want to be dispersed and lost sometimes. So which kind of advices can you give us for us to be, I can say, for us to be, to channel all of those ideas?
Document it first. I don't know. Most of us don't have the those reader books agendas to write things in, but you have Google Docs and slides. Now we have tools that I hope the prof will not, that can make really nice slides in 1 second.
They know them actually. They do know them.
Right.
Canva, you know, they use Canva most of the time and other tools. So
there's Canva. There's more. Those who needs to know, they can text me inbox. I'll tell you what it is. So the thing is, you will need ideas comes as quickly as you said. Every time, as you said, even me up to today, there's so many ideas coming now. So write them down. Talk to people about it. You might have it, and your colleague might have something similar or something complementary. Then, as you discussing more ideas, more ways of starting it and polishing it starts coming, and one of them, some of them, or even all of them can become your business, right? So as ideas comes in, just when you start to document things, you are writing them down on your notebook or your wherever. You start bragging about it with your colleagues, they challenge it. Then from there, that's how a business idea is really, business ideas are born. Then you can start to think about the way to implement it. Another thing that I would recommend you, do not take a long time to start the implementation part. Even if you don't know clearly, you don't see what will you do next, just start something. People will notice. Clients are the one who actually gives you the right direction of your business, because they are the one who are going to use your product, your solution, consume your product. Every time that also keeps changing. So that will be an advice I will tell you. I used it, my friends used it, and they all have some really, really good thriving businesses. Did I? All right, thank you.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Remember, if you don't want to maybe unmute, you can put it in the chat. We have a few more minutes left. Okay, I'm going to take that as a, okay, there we go. So let us have Lucy and then Melissa.
Hi everyone, I had some questions. What would be your advice for someone who has, for example, some business ideas which are on the technical side? Maybe he or she doesn't have a technical background. Maybe you have an idea for a mobile app that can be helpful, maybe for even planning, but you are not on the technical side. What would be your advices?
Right. Remember, guys, when I said you don't need to know everything about your business? I'll give you an example. Part of Diners, actually a big part of it is we deal with food. I don't even know how to cook, man. Right? So first, there are people who actually knows that particular technical part that you need. you first can, as a small startup, I would suggest you partner with them. But remember, you are the brain of the company. You are the idea person. You guys have heard of Apple and Steve Jobs. He couldn't even connect a cable. He didn't know anything, but he was the idea behind all these products we now use, MacBook, iPhones, and everything, right? So you can partner with them or hire them. But technical part, let's say programmers don't come cheap. But there's a really good programmer in your computer science. Is it? I'm not sure if it's still called computer science now. In your class that can actually code this. Nowadays, for a mobile app, there's even AI that can do the codes. Then you have somebody to look at it for polishing before you deploy. So I believe the most value of any business is yes, software engineering. The most value in any business is not simply the technical part. Is really good, but it doesn't have to be your limit, because as I said, nowadays entrepreneurs, we have a much more advantage because there's so many ways you can get that. Your idea, your clients, and how you are going to deliver your solution to the client should be your main focus. I believe the tech part, you can achieve it in so many ways. Hiring, partnering a programmer, or again, a really good mobile app will not even be coded by one guy. It's always so many aspects part of it. You can start having your mock-ups. You try it with your customers. You guys have heard of Figma. Those are easy tools to use, and you can, then you focus on that particular heavy coding later, the cybersecurity part of it. So you need to protect the data of your customers later. First thing you need to see, is my solution needed on the market? Other aspects, you figure it out along the way, and there are options. All right.
Okay, Melissa?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Melissa.
Okay. My question is, you have advised us, like, as students, like right now we can rely on like making friends, and then we get the investment, like contributing the investment for a business. But for me, like I had an experience where I shared like my business idea to my friends, and we started to contribute like some investments, but then when we face some challenges, I feel like I face them alone. Like, what would you advise me?
Oh yeah, that happens a lot, Marisa. Again, I'm coming back to those time we mentioned. Who are you staying with in your company? Let's say you get the idea. You are the one who brought the idea. Maybe they brought in some cash. You also contributed, and when the first challenge hits, they bail on you. You are the one dealing with it alone. And trust me, when some things start to go good, they're going to come back. So it's a tricky and a sad reality that early entrepreneurs, we all go through that. First, there's what is an internal communication within your business, between your friends. You can communicate that first with them. Hey, look, I know you've given me your cash or whatever, but ABCD happens. I don't need you to bail on me. I need this. Sorry, a lot of chats. So I need this to. I need us to have a framework of how we are going to work. If you try the internal communication with your colleagues and it does not lead anywhere, you now have to leverage because remember the idea was yours. Then I would assume you are the majority shareholder in the company, right, Melissa? Yes. So you use that. You tell them, look, if I'm going to face challenges alone, I either need to find new partners or, it's sad. People say business partnerships are even hard, almost or even harder than marriages. So if something is not working out in the business at the early stage, it's better it get dissolved and you find the right people before at that early stage than later, where you'll be fighting over millions, right? So communicate with them. I would suggest you communicate with them. You set the record straight with them. They're your friends. They might not take you seriously right now, but that is business leadership. You need to communicate with them, communicate what you need from them, and what you all bring to the table. It doesn't have to be money. Early stage startup doesn't require that much money to the point you would think, oh, if I have his money, then he's the boss. No, your ideas, and that's the value. The clients, the relationship, your communication with the clients is much more valuable than any money anybody is giving at that particular stage of the business.
Okay, thank you very much once again. So we have 5 minutes of Q&A left, and I see 4 hands raised. For the 4 people, please keep your questions short and precise so that everyone gets a chance. Queen, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I have a very quick question for him. How is the registration process for business? How would I put it? For business that are in service provider industry, and if you can give advice to me, I'm asking for myself. If you would give like 2 or 3 advice, what would you tell me?
You said service industry. Can you repeat the question again? I didn't.
The first question was how is the registration process for business that are in
the service industry?
Yeah, in the service industry.
It's the same. It's the same as every business, because as I said, when you're registering through RDB, you reach a point where they ask you what are the products or services that you are going to do. It's a long list. You go through it. I'm sure you find what you provide. If you think you provide more than 1, 2, 3, 5 services, just put it there. It's even highly recommended, actually, when you are still early, you don't know which part you are going to focus on. Just have it all there. They will ask you what is the core business. Maybe you can put what you are currently doing at the moment, but it's always okay to go back and change it. Right? It's the same process. Another tip on the service industry would be have a better client relationship. Most of the service industry are based on client satisfaction, right? If you know what I mean. Does the client like? Are they happy with what we provided them? And you need them to buy again, which is a bit different from people who are selling tangible products. Sometimes you don't even know your client. You just, somebody come, they bought, they go, that's it. But for a service, you have to maintain the relationship. You don't have to bug a client with emails and WhatsApp texts. Just one reminder after 1 month. Did you like can you fill this little survey? Can you recommend us so we can put it on our website? Something like that. Service industry is really hard when it starts, but when you start receiving multiple emails and people asking for your service, yeah, it's a really good business to go in.
Okay, thank you very much. Jocelyn, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, thank you so much for the insightful answers and everything. So, what I can say about okay, I can add about like what you said about the business registration and everything. So, basically in Rwanda, like if you have a product or prototype, you have, and if you think that someone is going to steal it or something like that, you can go and register it to RICA, so that like they know your product and your landmark to avoid the copyright and something like that.
Yeah, also the intellectual property, the IP, they've started registering that.
Yeah. Let's go back like to my questions, and I have two questions. And one of them, like many like aspiring entrepreneurs want to start their own businesses, but like they're afraid of facing resources. They're unsure of what to do next. Like even though they're passionate about entrepreneurship, is there a specific amount or percentage of money someone should set aside to cover potential losses and invest it in the business in case the business isn't making loss? And also, how many times can someone fail and still reasonably continue before deciding to give up on that business, maybe? And the second question is like, some people want to start a business that requires a lot of capital, like they say 20 million, and they become discouraged even before starting because they know they can't raise that full amount. For example, in Rwanda, like BDF supports startup by providing like 75% of the required capital, but the entrepreneur must contribute the remaining 25%. And some of them like may give up knowing that they can't raise that amount of money, feeling like there are no way forward. What advice like you give to someone in that situation? Thank you.
All right, that's a good question. BDF, give me one sec, guys. Let me go check on. Sorry about that. I was answering Jocelyn's question regarding the how many times do you need to try a business before you give up on it? I would think, what are you changing every time you are failing, right? So let's say the first time you thought you didn't have the right product, you pivoted. Then later you changed back to the different target market. So there's no specific time. People will say 3 times, 7 times. I've heard this model in China where you are able to fail up to 8 times. In Africa, it's a bit different. We don't have that much capital to burn. But again, if we had so many cases where people can have tried even hundreds of times and they eventually make it. First of all, make sure you are ticking all the boxes we mentioned. Like, are you solving a problem that is there? Are you is the target market that you are targeting the right one? Are you using the proper channel in order to communicate, in order to get your product in the hands of the customer? I'm sure as long as you are solving, you are ticking all those boxes, eventually you will reach to the point and say, oh, this is the idea. Or even your idea will keep changing until it reaches a totally different image or clientele. Then not there, it will grow. So I can't say there's a industry standard times you can try an idea. Until you keep trying, but keep learning and changing until you can make it. Second, as you mentioned something about regarding the capital, how much money can you put aside? You wouldn't know how much money is the business going to make. One thing I know is that you need to make a living as a person. You need to afford your livelihoods, if it's rent, if it's food, if it's those kind of things. Some business people even risk that. I've been there, where I put my rent money in the business and get burned. Hopefully I'm still here. So those are scenarios that every entrepreneur go through, but be careful to maintain a healthy amount for your livelihood to sustain. And also do not start a business thinking you are going to lose. So if you start to say, oh, let me just put 1 million on the side, that 1 million could have been a better investment in your business, right? So there's no one static number that anyone can give you to put aside. It's just that you don't want to be, you just put enough to sustain your livelihood. And remember that is why it's called a risk. You are risking, and you have to have that strategy of, if this thing goes south, maybe I'll go back to live with my parents, or I don't know if you have. It's not an option for everybody. You mentioned something about BDF. On paper, they would say that is how it's done, but in my experience and many other of my friends, it's a little bit hard to navigate that, where, because I remember in my first days, I went to BDF to get the cash. They couldn't give it to me. They say, oh, you are not the one who we are going to give the cash. Go back, talk to your bank, and the bank is the one who is going to talk on your behalf. When I reached the bank also said, look, you don't have a collateral. We can see, I don't know, does ALU still have hire interns? I was an ALU tech intern for some, so that was only the money that they could track on my bank account. So once they will see that, they'll be like, okay, there's not enough credit score for you. Go back, make some little money, come back, talk to us. So that's why I say, in reality, the best investors you have that are actually going to have something to put in your business are your colleagues, are your friends. Then later, you can now go to the big banks, go to those other government-funded programs, which is not easy always to get, at least from my own experience. All right, thank you.
So I think we want to thank you so much. Guys, we don't really have time because we are already late. And Khadija and the remaining two people, we are really sorry about that one. So, but at the end of the session, we are going to provide Serge details. Maybe you can contact him after the session, maybe to get further insight or information about the questions that you have. So we are just going to conclude our session, and I think we have talked about business registration and legal forms, what makes a good business idea, and investor funding. We have talked about maybe creating competitive advantage, and also savings via investment like bonds, stocks, and also real estate. So we are registering a business because it offers legal protection. It builds credibility and also opens doors to funding, and with common structures including sole proprietorships, partnerships, LLCs, corporations, and also non-profits. So a strong business idea solves also, as you have heard from Serge, it solves a real problem. And is it really scalable? Is it unique? And also it needs to attract also investors now. And it needs also to have a solid plan, a proof of tractions, a clear value proposition, and also a capable team now. So about the competitive advantage now, comes from offering low prices, unique value, or focusing on a niche, and can be built through innovation, strong branding, great service, and also smart use of technology. But we are aware that not every solution needs an app, or maybe also a website too. So while savings are safe and best for short-term goals now, investments like bonds, stocks, and real estate carry more risk, but can offer also the potential for higher returns over time. So this is what I got from the session. And I would like to ask if our guest speaker today has maybe to give us a final say or a reflection on his own about this session. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Joel. Thanks everybody for having me today. I believe I've also earned a lot from you guys. I also was able to rethink of other things that maybe when you spend a few years in business, sometimes you forget. When I'm mentioning that there has to be value, it doesn't apply to only early businesses and also established businesses, small or big. You have to keep on innovating on your value, because remember, whatever you do, you are not the first person to do that. There's more, there's competition, so keep being valuable to your customers, to your clientele, keep bringing innovative solutions. Right, so a business is an ever-evolving entity, and you have to evolve around it. Thank you guys for having me. I believe this conversation was a bit much more beneficial than me having a structured or 20 slide that I made with AI in order to finish the session. I like the open where people could just ask whatever they need, and I also answer. And I'm always available. I believe they'll give you my email, and I'll be happy to share what I know. And you also share what you know, right? Thank you.
Wow. Give it up for Serge. Let's give it up. One more round of applause for Serge. Thank you so much. Yeah, I also want to express my sincere gratitude to you for gracing us, with your presence, sharing your experiences, perspectives,